So hello and welcome back to the channel. And in case you somehow missed out on what's just happened, West Ham have just won a trophy. And not only a trophy, but a European trophy. So let's talk about what happened. Now, before the match even happened, the majority of the media were sort of expecting West Ham to win. They didn't really see Fiorentina as a massive threat, but I can tell you firsthand, after watching Fiorentina humble my team Heart of Midlothian in 2 games as well, they were a good team. Don't let their league position fool you about how good they were. They also got to the final just the other week of the Italian Cup. I mean, our Heart's the greatest team in the world, obviously not, and they are a much better side than us, so it doesn't come as too much of a surprise that they actually beat us 5-1 and 3-0. But they also lost the cup final to Inter Milan, the team in the Champions League final as well, and nothing to be embarrassed about there at all. So they're clearly a cup team, but to be fair, West Ham put all their eggs in this basket as well. I mean, their Premier League form was not fantastic. They were in a bit of a relegation battle the entire season. They only won 11 games, and up until the final, they also won 11 games in the Conference League as well, matching what they did in the Premier League. I mean, they really put all their focus on this tournament. And this game is expected to be Declan Rice's last at West Ham, and he had the first chance of the entire game. He had a half volley that went just wide off the post just 12 minutes in. Then a few minutes later, in about the 20th minute, Jovic has the next sort of half chance, a few shots here and there, they all get blocked. But Amrabat and Bonaventura were clearly running the show, and yes, Rice is supposed to be one of the best players and one of the best holding midfielders in the entire world, and he was getting overshadowed by the other two, and he was getting outworked by them as well. Benrahma then had one of the worst dives I've ever seen. He jumped and he acted like he got shot. It was mind-boggling. And then we get to the incident that has maybe overshadowed the result as a whole. Biraghi as well, their captain, he takes all their set pieces in terms of corners and free kicks. He's got a wonderful left foot on him. He scored a great free kick against Craig Gordon. You've got to be a special human to do that. But he was taking the corner and the West Ham fans just started pelting him with plastic cups of beer. Now, he then took a corner about 2 minutes later, same area. They chuck the exact same sort of plastic cups at him of beer, and some idiot throws a vape and his head bursts open and he's bleeding profusely there. This won't go unpunished for West Ham either. The fans have really let them down in that regard. It was a great night for them, and I think it has been overshadowed by that. Also, if you're going to a football game and you're thinking, oh, I'm just going to chuck something, I'm going to try and distract him, I might try and hit him as well, stop, right? And if you're sitting next to someone who's doing that as well, have a word with them. What idiots go and do that? I mean, you're ruining it for everyone, and you've then just given the club a massive fine, a suspension, maybe even some of the fans can't come to the next few games. Who actually knows what the punishment will be, but you're absolute dicks. But late in the first half, probably the last action of the first half, Gonzalez whips in a beautiful ball, and then it gets headed down. Areola has a wonderful save onto the post, and Jovic knocks it into an empty net, but it gets ruled off for offside. It was a very tight VAR call, but the officials got that right. It goes into the half, even Steven, 0-0. Then, in about the 57th minute, Biraghi handballs it, and it's such a tough call, this one. Now, in my opinion, it's a penalty. It's such a tough call. But he's so close as well. He's running. Bowen chests the ball. It pops up. He's probably not even expecting it, Biraghi. And he just, in the running motion, strikes his hand. He takes it away from Bowen. And realistically, that is a penalty. I know it's harsh. I know it's very close, but I would say it's a penalty, but I could see it going either way. Then Benrahma takes the penalty, smashes it to the goalkeeper's left, his right, Goalkeeper dives the other way, and he runs to the fans. But he was also already booked, and I don't ever agree with this being a booking, but you see sometimes when players run into the crowd, the referee will then just give them another booking. And he could have been sent off. I agree that he shouldn't have been sent off. And the same happened for the Fiorentina goal, which we'll just get onto, but it was risky. It shouldn't ever be a booking, but he very well could have been sent off. Then, just a few minutes later, Amrabat gets the ball, plays a lovely diagonal ball straight to the right-hand side. Gonzalez leaps, heads it down to Bonaventura, who takes a brilliant first touch and smashes it across Areola into the bottom left corner. And it was a wonderful goal from their perspective, but West Ham, that defending was criminal. Declan Rice, you've got to be picking him up and making sure that he doesn't get a shot away. You were standing ball watching. And there were a few chances here and there. Fiorentina had a sitter, which their number 38 slices just wide. I mean, put your foot through it, son. Then you also have Souček coming close twice. Amrabat has a great strike at goal. And it looks like we're going to extra time and who knows, maybe another penalty shootout. But step up Jared Bowen. This is the danger of playing such a high line as well. The Fiorentina players are so close to the halfway line, and Paqueta gets the ball, who was magnificent all last night as well. Plays through Jared Bowen, who springs the offside trap, runs in behind them, and he's got a one-on-one with the goalkeeper. I think the goalkeeper needs to save it, in all honesty. Jared Bowen has a strike, it goes so close to the goalkeeper, who he's unlucky not to save it, but he really has to, and it doesn't matter realistically because Bowen scores, it's in the back of the net. West Ham fans go mental, they win the Conference League this year. The people as well who say, it's just a made up UEFA tournament, you know, it's not like the Champions League or the Europa League. You're right, it's not like the Champions League and the Europa League, it's the third stage, but it gives fans so much joy. I mean, you get to go to places all over Europe that are just fantastic sort of places. Obviously, Hearts went to Florence, they went to Latvia, and West Ham have been all over as well. It's a fantastic day out, and it's for the teams that, okay, maybe they're not as good and can't get into the Champions League or the Europa League, but it's a wonderful third option, and it means so much to the fans as well. Clearly means a lot to the players. It's by no means a Diddy Cup whatsoever. Fantastic decision to make this competition from UEFA, even if it was just a cash grab from them. And it was a really nice way for Rice to bow out of West Ham. You've captained them, you lifted the trophy, you had tears in your eyes, it was brilliant. Performance-wise, not something of a player worth 70, 80 million. I mean, if those are the fees that Arsenal, Bayern Munich, Chelsea, that these sort of clubs are going to pay for, you'd expect a lot more in a final as well. Paqueta, fantastic. Couldn't praise him high enough as well. Man of the match, pulled the strings, he was everywhere. That's exactly why they brought him in. Jared Bowen as well, he is forever immortalised as a West Ham icon, West Ham great, the guy who gave a lot of these fans their best ever memory. Not won a cup since 1980, and he's dated someone who, her dad is one of the biggest West Ham fans on the entire planet, and even saw the funny side to the Jared Bowen chant as well, so good on him. And Emerson, funnily enough, becomes the first ever player to win all 5 UEFA European trophies. Who'd have guessed that? He won the Champions League and the Super Cup in 2021. He won the Europa League in 2019. He's obviously just won the Conference League in 2023 and even won the Euros with Italy in 2020 as well. Some accomplishment. Well done, Emerson Palmieri. And finally, David Moyes. It took you a while, but it must feel so sweet to get not only a trophy, but a European trophy, the Community Shield does not count for David Moyes. I'm sorry, it's a glorified friendly. But he even had his dad with him, his 87-year-old dad, winning your first competition, and brings him down, gives him the medal. Wonderful, wonderful achievement from a guy who is the first Scottish, not British, first Scottish manager to win a European Cup since Sir Alex Ferguson won the Champions League in 2008. Well done to David Moyes. So what's next for West Ham now that they've won that? Well, they'll sell Declan Rice. He's all but confirmed to leave, and maybe one or two others will leave, but they really need to build on this. They need to say, hey, we are a European pedigree team, and we need to get in some more players, some more squad depth, some strong players as well to help with the grueling schedule, because as fantastic as this was to win it, your league form suffered, and you really need a lot of players, both that are very good but very fit, happy to be very squad players as well. You need to find that balance, because you will suffer, and who knows, with the sale of Rice, you could be in relegation trouble again. I don't think you will be, but it could be very tough. So let me know what you thought of the video down below. What should West Ham's punishment be for the idiot who threw the vape as well? How do you think they'll get on in the league next year and the Europa League as well? And as well as that, please give a like, give a follow, subscribe, give a share, do all of that jazz as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.